And the winner is Arctic Monkey!
That subscriber content, eh? That subscriber content, it just won't go away.
It might hibernate from time to time and sink back into the swamp. I think the cyclical nature of the universe in which it exists demands it adheres to some of its rules.
But it's always waiting there, just around the corner, ready to make its way into your ears and smash through the gated payment system, sounding better than ever.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Benefits such as getting ad-free episodes a week early with pre- and post-show chat relating to the monkeys, last Shadow Puppets episodes, bonus podcasts, watch-alongs, plus helping us improve our sound with better equipment and services.
Yeah, this podcast seems like it's fading away sometimes, but with subscribers, it will never die. Thank you very much for listening. We do truly appreciate it. Don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah, we'll invoice you for the subscription if we need to.
We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude. That man just yawned. We're gonna call it
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hello and welcome yet again to a brand new episode of Don't Believe the Hype, the weekly show that's shining a light on the discography of Arctic Monkeys and telling you in excruciating detail what it is that we've found. And this week, we found ourselves at the end of the album, not the end of the series, though, as you'll find out later. Well, you'll already know. If you've been with us at Series 1, you'll already know that it's not the end of the series, but I'm not good at the Jeopardy. Joining me, Nick Lee, it ain't a podcast till you go and fetch something from the car. Buy something. No, it's not the well-rendered chocolate orange from the glove box. It's Dan Holt. Hello, Dan.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, where do you stand on chocolate oranges, man?
Sorry, I've wafted my hand at the camera. I wasn't doing something. There was like a floating thing there. Where do I stand on chocolate oranges?
You're a chocolate
Absolutely
orange fan.
sensational. Yeah, love a
They've
chocolate
got
orange.
top tier, aren't they?
Oh, excellent top tier. Also, a chocolate orange milkshake is very nice as well. Terry chocolate orange milkshake, yeah. Yeah. I don't understand. Some people that don't like chocolate orange, don't know what to tell you. It's fabulous. It's lovely.
And the orange isn't. If I had to have a fruit, orange would be right down my list because it's a messy fruit.
Yeah. Also with a chocolate orange, the little block of chocolate that you get in the middle that's like thick when it breaks apart. Yeah, excellent part of that whole thing.
Have you ever bought Have you ever bought a Kit Kat and it had no wafer in it? Has that ever happened to you?
Maybe it rings a bell.
Kit Kat was just solid chocolate, and because I was just like really high all the time, I decided to write a letter to him and say, "Oh, this is great. Let's look what I found." And they sent me loads of vouchers for like free Kit Kats. Fair enough. I think they just do that to anyone who writes to them. I think they just assume you're a little child with like mental.
Yeah, Nick, age 12.
yeah. He's drawn a picture of a Kit Kat.
Well, at least you don't get high all the time now. At least that's behind you. So yeah, no, Kit Kat, but it's a bit like a Kit Kat Chunky, that isn't it? The Kit Kat Chunky's better because you get more of the chocolate around it, thicker amount of chocolate. So yeah. Ooh, I was talking about chocolate.
No, this was a Kit Kat Chunky that I got that was all chocolate.
Oh, it was all chocolate. I've never had that. I'd remember that.
Genuinely the greatest day of my life.
I just thought you meant a little thin Kit Kat.
No. This was a Kit Kat. That's why it's so amazing. I've had Kit Kats like that many a time.
That'd be special.
Kit Kat Chunky. Oh,
because Nestle don't do just a bar of chocolate of their chocolate, do they? Which is strange.
No, they don't. Not like Cadbury's.
I don't know why. Because I'd argue it's nicer than Cadbury's a little bit.
Well, controversially, my favourite Cadbury's chocolate is the Freddo.
That is a good chocolate, and I can confirm that the Aldi version is shit. I can confirm.
Yes,
and I won't normally say that because I have a lot of there's a lot of stuff from Aldi that I'll say is actually just top tier still. But the Freddo Dino, whatever it's called, it tastes like crap. It tastes like is this libelous? No, it's just opinions in it.
How cheap do they need to be? They're already like 25, 30p.
Have you orchestrated this so that us talking about chocolate bars is better than those two dull podcasters talking about to see if the chemistry's better? On that clip you sent me of those two guys that were really dull talking with no chemistry. Are you just trying to do a test to see if our chemistry's better? But we should probably Speaking of chocolate bars,
well rendered or not.
I'm trying to do a link, but I don't know if I'm gonna. I want a 505 chocolate bars
How are you alive, Dan?
I was on the toilet. It was 45 minutes, but it felt like 7 hours.
Wasn't worth it.
It wasn't
worth
worth it. Tenuous link. No, but we are doing, well, it is a classic. There's no way around it. It was a classic that then became a modern classic, a TikTok sensation. Yeah. Maybe the trailer for this will also become a TikTok sensation, this episode of us talking about it.
Maybe. Or maybe just the trailer will. And then maybe the trailer will get loads of views and it won't be reflected in the listener numbers.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Let's have a listen to 505.
I'm not shy of a spark. The knife twists at the thought that I should fall short of the mark. Frightened by the bite, though it's no harsher than the bark. The middle of adventure, such a perfect place to start. I'm going back to 505. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. In my imagination, you're waiting, lying on your side, with your hands between your thighs.
Oh, that was nice.
That's the last we're going to see of later with Jules Holland until Suck It and See now. For the next time.
Yeah.
A full series without any Jules Holland clips.
And then is that the last until the car, or did they go on there for AM?
They went on for AM. They did.
Oh, they did good, didn't they? Yeah, of course they did.
Yeah.
Do what I know.
And do what
I know. Yeah. Oh, hi. One of them. Yes, of course they did. Yeah. And then we'll just get them for the guy. They didn't do Tranquility, did they? For Jules.
No, they
did the BBC made a rail. No, I like that. I prefer the drums in that than the recorded track there at the start. I mean, I feel like I say that every week, but held as live is just always more spectacle than even on the album, isn't it? Miles there as well, creeping in.
Yeah, I was do more of that in coming weeks.
I was considering doing a little bit of information on him, but you all know who Miles is. We don't need to do that. And even if we did, I might do a little bit on another episode that is on. It'll be a bit lighter, that episode, won't it, than this. This is a packed episode of it being a huge song. So, yeah. I mean, well, also, if you're a subscriber, or if you want to be a subscriber, you could listen to Last Shadow Puppets, where we talk about Miles quite frequently. And we'll probably do a subscriber pod for his birthday as well, which is 17th of March. So we've missed it, but next year we'll do it. We'll do a subscriber for Miles' birthday. We'll be on the B team next series, won't we? So because we've done all the lads now. So yeah. Although 17th of March, St. Patrick, of course, his birthday, St. Patrick's Day. Of course. How fitting.
Yeah.
fit
Yeah,
in.
yeah. It seems like the St. Patrick's Day type.
Yeah, yeah. Fucking
Oh,
hell.
no. Pretending to like Guinness for the day.
No, just any chance to be around drunk women, I imagine probably was.
That's why I like it.
But yes, shall we do some information on the tracking question? The tracking question.
You're not impressing anybody.
The information action ratio ain't that the place to go.
505 is that. Do you reckon you could get AI to do like if I typed in AI, do makeup because they can get them where they're singing? Could I do like Miles doing all of Arctic Monkeys if Miles was the front man and just see what that sounds like? Probably, yeah.
That's probably doable.
I mean,
I don't think the world's calling out for it, but
I saw one yesterday of Cartman singing Adele. So I mean, if that's out there, then surely you can get Miles singing Arctic Monkeys. So you'd
hope so, wouldn't you?
You'd hope so. 505 is the last track on the album and is 4 minutes and 13 seconds long. It has 1.2 billion streams on Spotify. It's our first foray into the billions with the band. First marker there. I knew I'd shoehorn the Succession music in somewhere, and with it being a billion plays, I thought this is the way I can. And just two quick notes there. My favorite TV theme music of all time, and B, I can't believe a rapper hasn't yet sampled that and done a rap over it. Like it's perfect for that.
It's time, yeah.
Yeah, there's loads of time, yeah. Maybe now it's off air. Yeah, why don't we do it? Well, what do you think of that? It's first into the billions here, 505, 1.2 billion. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean,
recent, obviously, as well.
Yeah, at the time, that wouldn't have been the song that I'd expect to go and get 1 billion streams.
It's pretty big. Yeah, I mean, I get it though because it's like
it is a great song. In terms of it not being a single, probably I'd say certainly now their most famous non-single.
Do you know what absolutely, yeah. What I think as well, and I Want to Be Yours falls into that bracket as well because that recently hit 1 billion, didn't it? So that falls in that and 505 are the two most famous non-singles of Arctic Monkeys, probably. Yeah. But I will say that I think it has the. I don't want this to sound insulting or to sound like I'm being insulted about the song either because I'm not. But what I think's happened is because I remember when we first heard it. To me, at the time, with a musical palette that was growing, and you don't know a lot. I hadn't got into like swing music and that kind of stuff, so it was growing at that point. As a young person, it seemed like the most beautiful romantic song of all time, and it is very beautiful and romantic, as we'll get into. But it felt like it feels like a young person talking about love, and I think that's why it's recaptured a youth of another generation, and I think it'll recapture the next youth of the next generation as well because it's just got that feel to it of a young person talking about love.
I think because
it's that angst of wanting to get to the person that you love like that only youth can harness, to quote the man himself. Because is that a lyrical arm? I think it's a lyrical arm for that one. Finn.
We found it now.
Lovely. But yeah, no, I think that's what it is. And I get why it became a bit of a TikTok sensation because I just think the next generation have felt the same way about it as we did. It's funny that A Certain Romance didn't do that, though. Maybe it just hasn't found its place yet. But there we go. But that's very of a time, I guess. Some of the lyrics are a bit outdated now. So maybe it doesn't have that same effect. 505.
A little bit cheesy and a little bit 80s.
Yeah, 505's not ever going to go out of fashion, is it? Any of the lyrics in that. It's always going to work for talking about love. So I do still think Suck It and See deserves to be in that place as well, but we'll
it
get
should be.
there as well. It is, although nothing wrong with it though. Some people moan about it being a hit now, with it being a TikTok hit. But for me, if that brings more people and a future generation to the band, then that's all good by me. I'm not going to moan about
Back
them.
in our day, you used to discover songs because they were on adverts. So this is just TikTok is just the extension.
Yeah, you used to
of
sit
that.
watching music videos in your bedroom
Yeah.
with your mates rather than, now you can just find them on YouTube. What's the difference? Well, I don't understand why people. It's like people, everyone's on the phone at gigs and all that, and it's like, all right, yeah, but so what? I don't. It doesn't really take anything away from your experience. So why do you care? And I don't
Imagine telling someone who was at a gig like 50 years ago and saying one day you'll be able to go to gigs and you'll have the world in your pocket,
and you'll be able to
They would be
relive
like,
that
I'm going
gig.
to use that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an odd. It's odd, but anyway, it is 144 beats per minute and is in the key of C major. Again,
Wrong key though.
other key tracks in C major are You Caught Him on the Counter, You Saw Him Banging on the Sofa, and He Even Had Her in the Shower. But It Wasn't Him. Yes, of course, It Wasn't Me by Shaggy, or as he's now known, Sting. Is that an old brown leathery sofa jumping repeatedly up and down on a stage? No, it's only Iggy Pop singing The Passenger. God bless you, Iggy, but maybe it's time to put your shirt back on. And speaking of shirtless maniacs past their prime, jumping around on a stage, it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers with Buckle Down. This song has been played live 479 times by the band. Firstly, on April 5th, 2007, on Later with Jules Holland, filmed in London, as we just heard or saw if you're a subscriber. And lastly, last night at time of recording, July 19th, 2023, it was played at Release Athens. So there you go. I assume that was a festival, not like a charity gig to Release Athens. Like Athens has been taken. It hasn't been like taken hostage, has it? It's not under. It's not been invaded, has it?
It's now been, as of last night, it's been annexed by the People's Republic of Hillsborough. Oh.
Well, yeah. And as we've
They own
already
that place.
They do. And as we've already referenced, resident sex pest Miles Kane played guitars on the song, as we will discuss again later on. And as we have also discussed, the song returned to the UK singles chart in October 2022 after enjoying viral success on TikTok. It beat its 2007 peak in the charts of number 74 on the tally by getting to... I would guess what it got to in 2022 when it shot back into the charts. So it was higher than 74. It was higher than its original foray into the charts. 40? No, it's not in the top 40.
Was it top 40? No.
Nah.
53.
73. So it got one place higher than,
Right, bloody hell.
than last time.
It's TikTok.
So on that, based off its TikTok success, I'm not saying obviously it's not going to get high in the charts like just off the streams from TikTok, but based on its TikTok's resurgence, do you feel that this should have been a single at the time and that would have made it more of a well-known love song, classic love song? Do you think it would have been a more famous song, like outside of the Monkees fans? It would have been
quite
famous
possibly,
song.
actually, yeah, because it's got all the ingredients for a great
song,
I think.
The fan base love it. The diehards like us love it. The out of fan base love it, and the people who just know the first two albums and go to the gigs just to hear that, they love it. Yeah. I don't think there's many people. I've never heard anyone say they actively don't like it. So that would suggest that if it was released as a single, and it's TikTok as well, Revival on there, that would suggest that it would have been a pretty big hit. I think it might have been number one potential.
Because the fact it got to like number 70 odd in the chart on the release of the album, so that's just downloads, that, because it wasn't a single. So that's bloody good, that. Yeah,
exactly. It was just on streams. It got in. That's pretty hard to do. It's not like Mr. Brightside just been hanging in there for the better part of 25 years off streams. But that is one of the most famous songs of all time. Now, probably, I think we could comfortably say Mr. Brightside. But it's an odd. I think it should have been maybe, but that's only it should have been in the way that they're now. Because I'm still begrudged that Arctic Monkeys haven't had that song that's made them I guess they have. Would Do I Want to Know fall in that? I don't know, but I'm always I was wanting to have that, like Elton John, Your Song, or that song that everyone knows that made them a star,
Yeah.
a Rocket Man, and then Bowie's is like Life on Mars or something. That song that everyone in the world knows, and that for them for. I think it has the potential to be that. But hey, what can you say? What can you say?
Can you?
Girl, you can never tell because Suck It and See was a single, and that should have been bigger in my opinion. And I actually think Mirrorball is a bit of a classic tune and should be regarded as so, but it isn't. So there you go. So Alex actually commented on the TikTok virality. That's not a thing, is it? Viral resurgence. By saying, without having 505 at the end of our shows for a few years around 2008, I'm not sure if it would have found the new life it has now, he told NME. He went on to say it was genuinely moving to witness such a reaction, but admitted he's somewhat bemused by the revival. I hope that doesn't sound like I'm taking credit for it, even if it wasn't totally unexpected. The attention around 505 is really quite special, he said. So yeah, got a little bit. That's about it. We have another first. Not only do we have the first of the billions for this one, but the band sampled some music for this, which I believe is a first. The organ, but not the last. First, last. So do we have a sample again? Can't think now. Is this unless we find one out? Although this is a contentious point, we'll get into it in a sec. But the organ to this track was taken from Ennio Morricone's score to Sergio Leone's "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly" in the scene when Angel Eyes enters before the final standoff. Should we have a listen?
Two can dig a lot quicker than one. Dig. You're not digging? If you shoot me, you won't see a cent of that money. Why? I'll tell you why. Because there's nothing in there. You thought I'd trust you?
Yes. So there it was at the start, that little bit there. So I mean, our friends over at Far Out Magazine did a little article where they discussed that when he died, Ennio Morricone, which I'm not gonna. It's an interesting read. I might tweet it out, but there's nothing too groundbreaking to talk about in this, other than who might be inspired in the lyrics. But we'll get into that in a bit. But I think so. Here's my thing. So we're about to get into our samples and covers of the song, okay? And what I found when doing it was that this organ isn't listed as an actual sample. It's not on the show credits, the vinyl credits, the Spotify credits. It's not on whosampled.com, which is pretty much solid usually in terms of what's been sampled and what's been covered and stuff like that, and what's an official cover and what's not. So I'm kind of so we found a few samples that say their samples are 505, but it's just the organ. So it seems like it's weird because it's like, well, are they sampling the song or are they sampling the original organ? So how do you think they found it? I have a slight theory on this. Do you think they saw the film and just decided to use the organ for the song? Because I have a theory, perhaps, unless you know something more before I say that.
I don't know anything more, no.
My theory would be the fact that this isn't listed as an official sample and it's not credited on anything would be that this music fell out of copyright and it's free music to use as a sample because it's only used briefly in the film anyway. And it's found its way onto what producers like James Ford will have library things on there, and then they heard that and decided to do that. That would be my theory, and that's why it's not officially credited. and why songs that use it credit 505 for it rather than the
Makes
others.
sense.
It does make a bit of
sense.
sense. Or maybe Alex is a bit of a film buff, and he loves his old films, and he loves westerns because he references westerns quite a lot, as we'll get through as we progress with the band. So that would also imply that maybe he just heard it. But I would find it, as much as I credit him with a lot and being a hero of mine and a legend and a film guy as well. That is in the film for about 3 seconds, as you just heard. That's the only time it's in the film, what you just heard then.
Yeah.
So for him to hear that and go, oh, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, that'd be good. Maybe because I suppose I've had moments where I've gone, oh, cool, idea, light bulb, you know. So maybe I'm not saying it's not. So it's either he did that, but then I don't understand why they wouldn't have to pay and have it listed, because when someone samples something, it's, you know, you have to have it on everything. It has to be credited, and you have to.
I mean, look at the whole thing with
so.
De Verve and Bittersweet Symphony and the Stones. Like...
exactly, and Ennio Morricone's estate would have got a load of money when it was a TikTok sensation as well. And so I just don't think the fact that it's not listed and it's not on the actual album, the vinyl, then that tells me they didn't pay any money for it. And because nobody's ever been sued, but it's widely known that is what they used, I would suggest that it's probably on, like, I mean, maybe I could find it on GarageBand or something. I don't know, but maybe I'll investigate this week and find out. But so yeah, so basically, I'm just going to run through some. If anyone does know anything, socials are.
Yes, it's all in the episode description. You can find our link tree, and that has links to all our socials. Or you can email us at arcticmonkeyspodcast@gmail.com. And while you're in the episode description, feel free to like, rate, review, follow, and maybe pay to subscribe and get some bonus stuff. Why not, eh?
Yeah, we've got a flurry recently of subscribers, haven't we? Joining us to get some of the content, some of which upcoming will be another Only the Truth, is it, by Last Shadow Puppets, and also we're going to do a watch along of Submarine, or a listen along if you want to listen along while we do Submarine. So yeah, but so these tracks are listed. I didn't get clips from because these tracks are listed as sampling 505, but I don't think it's fair to just play them because it's just the organ, and technically Arctic Monkeys sampled the organ, so it's weird. Yeah, they were sampled by Flatbush Zombies on the track Babel, by a song called Bionic by Lalo, and then a song which was entirely written in Russian or Ukrainian or something that I couldn't translate because it, you know, when you see that, it doesn't even look like words, does it? So to us anyway, so I found it on YouTube, but it didn't feature the song. However, this is an actual sample of the song because it uses the guitar and Alex in it. It's a track called 99 Escalas de Vu Perdido by Makealista. He's making a lista, he's checking it twice.
Dias não tô de camisa na rua com outra vadia, botando plano em prática. Com outra vadia, botando plano em prática. Com outra vadia, com outra vadia, botando plano em prática.
No idea what they're talking about there, but a little sample of it there. Not awful, you know. Not my cup of tea, but you know, not awful. But then so that's the end of the samples. But it was actually also covered a few times as well. Firstly by the band San Cisco. If you have a listen to that.
Like that.
Do you like it? What I will say, you do like it or you don't?
It's all right, yeah.
Yeah, I will say this: when it kicks into the emotional bit, his voice doesn't really carry into that.
No, it doesn't.
New appreciation for Alex's voice in that bit. Yeah. So yeah, it's not great at that bit, but you know, it's not the worst cover ever. It was also covered by Up Salikbo featuring Sia Santos and Marco Boncodin as well. See what that one's like. See if you like that.
fits right in with what the band are doing now. That
Well, here's the thing on that. One is that I don't think his voice works. Like I think because he's probably I think he might be South American. Trying to doing that thing. Just sing it in your own voice. Don't try and do what he's trying to do. Alex's northern twang or whatever. Like don't.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. It doesn't work. However, the music it made me think. In the Glastonbury pod when we were trying to think of songs they could have pulled an orchestra out for. I thought, 5 of 5 could have had that with some people going dun, 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 dun. And actually because of the fact that 5 of 5 was a TikTok, but that was the song that we said didn't work at Glastonbury, to be fair. But the fact that 5 of 5 is a TikTok sensation as well, it would have worked even better with an orchestra because everyone would have known it, in the crowd. So yeah, maybe a misstep there from the lads. But yeah, that worked really well with that orchestra sound, didn't it? That dun, 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 dun. I really I could listen to that instrumentally.
The orchestra sound was a bit Viva La Vida by Coldplay, though.
Well, now it's ruined. That's that in the bin.
But I quite like.
Nah, you've ruined it.
Song, so. Hey,
Speaking of things in the bin, our relationship is in the bin officially. Awful song, that one of the worst fucking songs. Anyway, dreadful. Epitome of everything wrong with people's music taste these days. What people think good bands are. And anyway. Speaking of acts that you really love, actually, well, we moved from Coldplay to Mr. Louis Tomlinson. Quite recently decided
not a fan of. No.
Yeah, you are. You love One Direction. You love Harry Styles, One Direction, Louis Tomlinson.
Nope. No.
Yep. You do.
I specifically like some Harry Styles songs, but not the One Direction ones.
I'm throwing it. No, I'm just. It doesn't count. If you like Harry Styles, you're in the same arena. So I don't. It's you like them all. What do I call him? Mediocre songs and dresses for attention rather than actual substance and making a point about anything.
Come on, mate. I'm dying to play an Eagles cover here. Come on.
You're dying to play it. You're dying to play it because it's one of your favorite artists singing it. Go on, play Louis Tomlinson. Yeah. Go on. All I can say about that is, and I don't want to upset you because I know you like him, but all I can say about that is that it's one of the. Thankfully, the crowd sing louder than him at certain points.
That's
so
mental.
No way through.
Not an Arctic Monkeys crowd, yet they all know every word of that song. It just shows how big it is.
It's a TikTok hit, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a huge song. 1.2 billion streams, Nick. 1.2 billion. Not a lot of songs have that. Not a lot of songs get even close to that, and that's just on Spotify. So yeah. But yeah, absolute. I don't know. Well, I just thought, why? But yeah, there you go. You can't have it all. Louis Tomlinson still recording and touring music, so the project's available.
Debatable.
Yeah, absolutely dreadful. This is completely unrelated, but on my research for this, I stumbled across the fact that From the Rich to the Rubble, to go back in era, From the Rich to the Rubble featured on Madden NFL 06 on the Xbox 360. So there you go.
It did. Correct.
At last. So shall we do some reviews? Now we're out of the minefield of covers and samples of the song.
For that.
A Radio X poll found the much loved Favourite Worst Nightmare track to be the most popular among fans of the Sheffield band. Final song on Favourite Worst Nightmare bested A Certain Romance, Marley Bone, Betty Little on the Dance Floor, which all finished in the semi-finals. Despite never being released as a single, 505 has always been a firm favourite among Monkeys fans, given a huge reception during their live performances. True, but are you surprised that it was rated as the number one song?
Depends
I mean, it's
when
just a
this
Radio
was
X
done.
ball, so I wouldn't really,
Yeah, because if it was
hold too much
vying
up.
with like certain romance and dance floor, then I'm assuming this was done quite early.
I can tell you exactly when it was, Nicholas. It was the 8th of May, 2020.
Oh,
So
right,
it was
bloody hell.
it was before the car. But after, so it was pandemic. These are pandemic polls, and we all had nothing to do. And we were just doing polls all day.
We've got deadlines. I don't know what for, but we've got deadlines.
So yeah, it did. It reached number one, but that was when it had the TikTok sensation in 2022, didn't it? So maybe that poll helped it along its way.
Maybe it did.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. Still blows my mind that the whole TikTok song having a revival on it. It's just because I'm not really. I don't really use TikTok, so it totally passed me by. I didn't know about it until about a year and a half after.
Oh really? No, I'm not that surprised by it, really, to be honest with you. I think it's the kind of song, like I said earlier, that fits the aesthetic of the youth and what people like. So it doesn't surprise me, really. I think Alex said, didn't he, in his quote then? He said it wasn't entirely unexpected. Like it would fit the mold. And it's just such an Alex consider that it wasn't entirely unexpected, but I appreciate it all the same. Louderthanwar.com did a 10-year retrospective look back at 505 in 2017 and said, throughout the record, the progression of Turner as both a singer and a lyricist was plain to see. Taking influence from Hawley as well as other Torch singers, his nimble voice became dark, brooding, and lovelorn, not least in the album's most arresting track, the stunning 505. The Guardian did a 20 best Arctic song list and put this at number 3, saying the belated progress of 505 from overlooked album track to one of Arctic Monkeys' biggest songs, particularly among listeners too young to remember its original release, is fascinating. TikTok clearly played a role, but so did the sheer quality of the song over chords borrowed from Ennio Morricone. It deals in beautifully understated melancholy. And then NME, the ever-present NME greatest list, put this one not as high as number 3, like The Guardian, but at number 14, saying the crestfallen 505 possesses a rich filmic depth that sparks even brighter with every pulsing beat, and that muscular aching refrain, but I crumble completely when you cry, is the crown jewel of any Arctic Monkeys show.
All right.
So the music in it, so what you like the song? Like this one?
It's all right, you know. Bear in mind, it's only a week or so since we recorded The Bad Thing, so it's nice to come back from.
Yeah. Well, it's
possibly
obviously
the
been 2 weeks for the listeners, but yeah.
We've done the 2 weakest tracks on the album, probably. I'd say
Controversial for some, but yeah, for one of them.
Well, we didn't feel like that about Old Yellow Bricks going into it, did we? But we had some
certainly did by the end.
Not fucking slept for a week. I don't know what to think. But yeah, it's good to look at it. It's epic, isn't it? It really is just epic.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? That just from like, I think I was trying to remember the first time we sort of listened to it, and I think I just remember being shocked because it was definitely there. Because we know we've said we both loved If You Were There, Beware, and I think that's the best music on the album. But this just felt like a shock. I think shock to the system because they touched on romance with parts of Riot Van and Only Ones Who Know getting close, but I was never expecting it to end with like a kind of. Well, I mean, a certain romance is quite romantic as well, but it just in a different way. But we're never expecting kind of for a start, we never would have expected like keys at this point, organs and stuff at this point.
No.
And yeah, the guitar was. I mean, the guitar is. I think we'll get into it in a minute, but that organ, yeah, very very sweet. So it's weird though. It does. I would love to know how they found it, whether it was from seeing the film or whether it was hearing it in some software in the studio and them going, oh, that could work. Because like whether they thought, should we like they'd had this song and maybe had a bit of a song and then they said, shall we write, how should it open? And maybe discussed organ, or maybe Alex did just know them that and who played it on the organ and wrote it that way. I don't know, but I couldn't find anything on it. But it's just such a change to it. But that's why I would love to know how it was written, because it's just like so sweet, and when you hear it on its own as well, and also the part of the film that it was used in is like a scene at the end, and it's not like a romantic scene or a sweet moment or anything.
No.
So it's like
No.
that film doesn't have any, but it's so it's just like to hear that in it is strange as well, to hear that kind of that sound in it. I guess people, hear different things in different sounds, but it's when you hear it on its own, it's quite like church-esque, I thought, when I was listening to the instrument. That kind of... awful feeling of going into church for me anyway.
With some monks.
Byzantine monks. But yeah, no, it's a really different sound to anything they'd done before. Like only once gets a bit close, I guess, but compared to the rest of the album. You know what it reminded me of when I was the start reminded me of, for some reason. I can't explain why, and you probably won't even know why I'm fucking saying this, but it popped in my head alongside it when I started listening to the instrumental. Karma Chameleon, for some reason. Like when it was going I went ding 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 ding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I can get out of my head.
I'll let you have that one.
Thanks. But yeah, great. And then obviously we've been talking about that clean guitar throughout this album, haven't we? And this is kind of the none so more than ever here. This is the pinnacle of it, I guess. Intermittent clean guitar of Mr. Cook.
It sounds so, like guitar and key. It sounds weird, but I want to describe it as warm. I don't know why, but the organ just reminds me of like the humming from one of them like electric fires that you can plug in. Like you have the humming in the back of the room when it's all warm. And that's all these years of hearing this song. It just makes me feel so cozy and warm.
Yeah, the clean is even more though, isn't it? Beautiful. That's coming in even more warm. And pure warm romance. It's all the same sort of vibe, isn't it?
Well, that's it. We've gone from songs about shagging to actual romance on this album.
Songs about shagging, songs about the pitfalls of fame, to snarky journalists, to whatever the fuck the other two are about, and then we come to the I guess the piece de resistance. Or do you think we've said that personally? If you were there, we've already said if you were there, it's going to be number one in our list. Like this subject to change, maybe, I don't know, but I don't think it will for me. But this is like, I don't know where I think the list for this one's going to be harder because I forget about this one as like what a good song it is. I think because it's been in every live show I've ever seen them at, and it's on every live show I've ever watched on TV. And I listened to it a lot back in the day. It's just maybe I take it for granted a little bit of it being a good song.
That's exactly it.
Like, so I think I wonder where I'm going to put it, because by rights it deserves to be quite high up, probably. I don't know. We'll keep you all in suspense, I guess. But I think that's going to be a tough call because I wouldn't normally say it, but thinking about it musically, certainly, it's definitely like, I don't know. Is it the second best musically produced song on the album? With If You Were There, if we're saying If You Were There was top, like I'd
say so.
It sounds the best, doesn't it? It sounds just as good as If You Were There Everywhere. Like that solo and everything is great. Nice bit of Helders as well at the start with the dum, 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 dum. It's the Thames Helders we get in the slower songs, isn't it? For the most part as well. That second guitar comes in as well, and that feels very of a time. Last Shadow Puppets makes sense of it being Miles, because that is Miles' sound. He was very much a pioneer of that kind of, I want to say, kind of like reverby, psychedelic almost. But actually, it sounds a bit westerny. Actually, that guitar, doesn't it? Which is another weird connection.
They did actually cite Ennio Morricone as one of the influences for the first Last Shadow Puppets album. Because I went during just before lockdown, I went through a phase of listening to loads of Morricone, and there's so much of it that you can just pick stuff out and go, yeah, they definitely listened to that before doing this. They definitely listened to that.
Yes, yeah. But do you think so? I don't know. With the guitar sounding a bit westerny, that makes you think that is it that it was on a sampling thing, or is it? I just want to know. I wonder if it could have been any possibility of events, because it could have been Alex wrote it based off that you heard in the song, but or the fact that, and it just happened to be out of copyright anyway, so they didn't have to pay for it. Or they just heard it and did it, and then they found out it was from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Because I imagine the software where you get the sample tracks from says what it was, who wrote it.
Yeah. It's like,
so it'll say Ennio Morricone, so you'd know. And then you get The Good, the Bad, and then maybe they watched it, and maybe they chatted about it being from that. So Miles's guitar sounds a bit westerny. I don't know, but it give me that kind of first Shadow Puppets album westerny feel to it. I felt Miles' guitar on that as well, yeah, because he loved that, didn't he? Mr. Nick O'Malley in this, he comes. It's like a brief but effective bass at this point, isn't it? Considering he's stormed through the last. Well, all of the album so far with a great bass line in every song. This one's more like a kind of intermittent sort of flows in and out.
Knowing when to
like a few notes,
when to come in,
which is something that they perfected circa 2018. Knowing knowing when to come in and when to go out, and not be having an ego about it. Yeah, then that obviously, I mean, the guitar then after that, once all the other instruments are in, that lick guitar,
little lead line, I love that.
Beautiful. Like, it actually feels iconic now, that guitar. I was thinking about it when I was listening to it, and I don't use that word like lightly, because I know outside the fan base maybe it isn't. I don't know, but it is a bit, because the Tit Top, I bet 90% of the Tit Top that blew it up don't go back and listen to the whole Arctic Monkeys discography. Do you know what I mean? So it is quite a big song, but it just, and it's such a staple of the live shows. It just feels iconic now, that guitar, Miles's guitar in that. When you hear it, it just feels like it's in the DNA of the band. That's that live, that when you hear that, you just get a little bit, that's 5 out of 5. Yeah, it just feels
straight
right.
away,
they did the building that they did. Do you remember in this House of the Circus? They did the kind of each instrument coming in, and then in this one they all drop off suddenly for the pause, obviously. Great stuff. And then they all come back in after the pause. Alex sings, obviously.
Well and truly.
Probably the best. I don't know, where do you think this stands on the out end of the big moment of a song? Because we've had Certain Romance. We've had
Fake Tales.
Do Me a Favor, Fake Tales. I'm thinking more emotional, but yeah, Fake Tales. Do Me a Favor. Had that.
Yeah, I think this
is the top.
This is above them for me. This is top for me. I was going to ask you the same question, but
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably top. Doesn't it really? Because it's such a big moment. Yeah, I mean the rhythm guitar obviously in this is just like steady, nothing too adventurous, much to the chagrin of a lot of fans, I think, because why is Jamie not doing the lead riff? Why have they got Miles in? And that lead riff, yeah, just so perfect and iconic. And even Helders isn't even flashy in this loud bit. I noted, like, everyone's just working as a unit, like, perfect. A bit like we said about Certain Romance, actually, if you remember. Just everyone's working
everyone
as like
knows
a unit.
The parts, everyone's doing,
No need to like go crazy and that. And then because after Alex stops singing, it's just like go for it time then as well. But they still keep it kind of tight at that point as well. Miles, to be fair on him, the saucy sod, he nails this, doesn't he? Kills it.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Now, I don't want to insult any Miles fans of his solo work. Do you think this is his finest work as a musician? Because I think that riff is better than any on his solo work, and I've heard all of his solo stuff. I'd say it's probably better than anything on the last Shadow Puppets.
Who plays the solo on Miracle
song.
Liner?
It's not
that's
better
the
than
only
this,
thing.
though, is it?
No, it's not. No, that's the only thing that's coming close for me. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but none of his solo stuff. Can we? we just saying that? No, I don't think any of it. I like some of his solo stuff, but I don't think it's like barely. But I don't like this. Like, although apparently he said his new album's just banger after banger. He claimed, which I feel like when an artist has to say, when an album has to say that, it usually means that it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like normally, like a really great album, the artist doesn't really say that, and then it comes out, and everyone goes, "This is a really great album." You know, in the press on the lead up, go, "Oh, this is an amazing album. It's banger after banger." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if you have to say you're a legend, then you're not a legend. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think he absolutely nails. It's such a special song, and he just gets this riff absolutely spot on, perfect. I think he must love it playing it, getting to play it on the tour.
We don't tend to see Miles doing it now. He did at the
Emirates.
Was it Emirates? And that was, but that's been it recently.
Well, he's busy, isn't he?
I suppose he's not supporting him on tour either anymore. I think he
only did it. I think he only ever really did it on a tour when he was supporting them, wasn't he? I don't think he ever trailed them round doing it when they were touring it. He had other things to do, to be fair with him. But he normally just comes out for special gigs. Didn't come out for Glastonbury for it, did he?
No,
did he? I can't remember. No, he didn't know. So yeah, but I don't know. Thingy must enjoy doing it though from the it's Milburn, isn't it?
Some roller, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, great. Like even when it again with Helders, even when Alex stops singing and it gets a little bit more, Miles is just doing his thing. Helders doesn't even get flashy then, he just steps it up a bit. Just lets Miles do his thing. Even when I was listening to this, that organ gets like a weirder sound in the fast bit. It's a bit psychedelic. Like it reminded me of a bit of, the start of MGMT, Time to Pretend. That weird, like,
oh yes,
I always thought that sound at the start as like the sound of like a bubble coming up in the water, like that, like yeah. Does he hear that in the background of the song when the fast bit's going, the organ?
I noticed that.
But it's just weird. It's like a weird sound, but it makes it a little bit psychedelic. Then everyone else stops and we're just down to the organ, and that end guitar riff again is just
dreamy.
It's fucking beautiful, perfect in every way, and B, live, it's both of those things times a million. It gives me shivers every time I hear it live. Actually, and what makes me well up a lot. Like it's it's just that end, that whole bit, and then when it's just the organ and Miles doing that riff as well, it's just like, oh, it's perfect. But yeah, best guitar riff up to this point. What do you think? That's hard to say, isn't it? And it's not one of the band doing it, so
Yeah, I want to stay clear of that discussion. I think.
I mean, we're only like, I'm not saying it's the best now. We're just best up to
no.
this point in the era. But I'm trying to think of better guitar riffs than that solo. If You're There Beware, maybe. Depends what you count. Do you count like First Adolescent, like I wouldn't really. It's different. It's different type of riff, isn't it? I suppose
it's more of a hook than a riff, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So in terms of a riff, I suppose you've got the Certain Romance solo. Do you think? Here's one for you. What do you think's better, the Certain Romance end solo or the 505 post? I crumble completely when you cry. Don't do it. That's exactly what we're here for. So comments like this, sick one.
I mean, Certain Romance is going to take a lot of budging for me, but it's close.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what's better. It depends. If it's live Certain Romance when they started deviating from the track, then I think I'd have to go that. But if it's the album Certain Romance solo, I think I might have to go 505 and because it's better when they changed it. It's better when they changed it. I don't know though, because Certain Romance was like when we did it, I remembered how much I love it. So yeah, that is an impossible question, really. Well, as we anything else to say on the old music?
No, that's your lot.
That's your lot. As we used to joke at when we worked on the produce department at Morrison's.
No, wasn't funny.
That's your lot, Nick. It wasn't, was it? You had to know your onions though to get it. Ayo, right there you go. Didn't palm that. Just like that. Just yep. Fast. You got to be quick. Don't say it if you've not got one ready. Shall we have a listen as we transition into the lyrics? Shall we have a listen to the version of the new kind of contentious for some, perhaps the new rendition of the song, which is taken, which was done in the last couple of weeks. We'll have a listen now to Alex's little intro and then the song. Well, you were a fan. We didn't like the Glastonbury version of it, and you actually said you're not a fan of it at all, don't you? You prefer the old one.
Prefer the old one. The new version has got its merits, but I do prefer. I don't know. I just find it heavier. The original version. I prefer it that way. But
I know what you mean. I prefer his intro.
It's not going to ruin anything for me. Yes. Well, yeah.
I think as well, it's important. Like, I know people don't like this because they're like, well, if you pay to see them, it should be. If you're paying people paying money, then they should do what the fans want or whatever. But I mean, if you've been playing a song for, they played it 479 times over the past, whatever, so 15 years, you're going to be a bit bored by it. You got to change it up a bit because you're probably like, I'll keep doing that same. So yeah, you got to have a tinker, probably. I did find it funny to hear, because Alex is voicing this one of his better performances so far. His best performance so far? I don't know. What did we say his best performance so far was? I think we might have said, again, if you were there, beware, maybe. I can't remember. There was one that we said was his best one so far, or this House of Circus as well, maybe with the rapping. Not too sure.
House of Circus, I think, yeah.
But do you, but there is a clip of Alex's. Don't take our words for it. Listen to a clip of the vocals isolated and make the decision yourself.
It's a bit way to do it, isn't it?
I crumble completely when you cry. It seems like once again you've had to greet me with goodbye. I'm always just about to go and spoil the surprise. Take my hands off of your eyes too soon.
Oh, it's not like great from a singing point of view, but it's like it's great for what this song needed. And I think
you can tell that he's actually feeling it as well. It sounds authentic.
Yeah, he's really trying to sing, isn't it? And it's funny how hearing that you just know he's over time his vocal cords have just gotten stronger and stronger from being used, and have turned into the sort of singy voice that he has now, which is quite strong, very strong singing voice. So, but yeah, I think that's another reason why it works as like a TikTok hit for like another generation, is because he's singing. It's just he sounds young. It sounds like a young person straining to sing about love, sounding pained, sounding like he's feeling it. We said about emotive. I think I said If You Were There, Beware was his most emotive singing because he was upset about his nana or whatever. But I think this is his next big emotive tune where he sounds like he's feeling the pain of a lost love, perhaps. So on the lyrics, some people think that potentially it's a reference to a Rolling Stones song called Flight 05. I have some thoughts on that, but should we have a little listen to the track in question?
Sure.
So I'm going to be honest, I'd never heard that until about 2 days ago, that people thought it might be a reference to that. I don't know if you had. I'd never heard the song before, so I listened to it. At first, when I heard that rumor, I thought, nah, that won't be true. And then I listened to it and I thought, well, let's just say the assumption is we know it's about a hotel room and someone there, an experience he had, which we'll get into in a minute, potentially. Now, was the actual room number 505? Who knows? Or did he select that number of the room 505 to reference the song? Because the themes of the song are very similar. That's the only thing that struck me, which is that it's about traveling to get to someone you love, like being wanting, get me on that flight, you know, if it's going to be to beat you, then get me on that flight 505, which is pretty much exactly what this song is about, which is, you know, getting back to that room, to that place. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's a reference?
It
could
could
be.
quite easily. I've heard this song before, but until you brought it up for the clips tonight, I didn't see the connection. But it definitely fit. There's another school of thought that suggests this song's about Joanna Bennett, who we referenced on Fluorescent Adolescent. Are you there?
We'll get to that, but just one last point in the Rolling Stones that struck me.
Yeah.
If it is about that, I think that Alex, in a future song, may have told us, hinted that it's about that.
Come on. Oh.
So in I Want It All, he says, and then suddenly it hit me, it's a year ago since I drank miniature whiskey, which invokes a hotel, miniature whiskey, and we shared your Coke, said, ain't it just like you to kiss me, and then hit the road, leave me listening to the Stones 2,000 light years from home, which obviously, 2,000 light years from home is obviously an album by the Rolling Stones, but the fact that he references a hotel room, being with a girl that's left, and listening to the Stones made me think about when I heard, it was the first thing I thought of when I heard about this song potentially being linked to it being a Stones song. Just potentially, who knows? I'm just thinking, is this, even if it's not a reference by him, is this the second time he's referenced a Stones song in relation to a lost love in a hotel room? It's a bit of a weird, through line, isn't it? So yeah, there you go. You've heard it there for potential theory. Yeah, I was quite happy with that one because that's my favorite. So that's my. I know you weren't a big fan of it. I think you've maybe come around a little bit since, but that's the reason I love that song is for that particular bit of the song. I absolutely
it's a great
love
bit,
that. I love that. Just that whole. It's another one of those sexy AM moments. Just thought hotel room, miniature Coke, miniature whiskey, Coke, kiss, Stones on, And I'm obsessed with those little. In my head, it's one of those motels in America. You know those motels.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with
motel.
I know in real life, people say to me, it's going to be like grim. And I know, but I'm so obsessed with staying in one because I'm just
moving motels.
Exactly. It's little movies in a diner, go and have a diner and then stay in one of those motels. I know in real life, you're like probably going to get shot, stabbed or something, but
by a cockroach.
So on the Joanna Bennett thing, did you had some, you were going to say something about it?
Yeah.
The timing fits.
It's just, it's a school of thought that suggests that the hotel room mentioned. The 505 hotel room could possibly be a metaphor for the hotel room that they were in writing Fluorescent Adolescent. Playing little when they shut themselves off and were playing little word games.
Yes, sorry, that was referenced in that Far Out magazine. I was just thinking, I just read that. I just read it then. That's how they came up with it because they were in it. So I would honestly be pretty shocked if this wasn't about Joanna Bennett because let's go through the lyrics and then say like why. But I think timing wise it makes sense. The fact that we know because she's actually said it that they were in hotel room and that's how they came up with this song because they were just spending time in this hotel room watching TV and film and stuff. I don't see how it couldn't be her really. That's pretty much all the clues are there really, aren't they? Put it together. So and the fact that if she wrote Fluorescent Adolescent, then that's the same time as he was writing this album. So I don't see how it couldn't be her unless he was a dirty little Herbert and he had something very close by, or it's completely fictional. But I don't think do you think he ever goes? I feel like he never goes completely fictional. Do you? Maybe the car, some of the cartoons might have gone completely fictional, but I don't. Does anyone ever actually? You know what? It's a good question. Does anyone ever go completely fictional in some way? Whenever you're writing something, you pull in from life experiences. So I suppose no one's ever completely fictional.
There's parts of Tranquility Base where he's created this whole little universe and stuff, but at the same time, some of the lyrics on Tranquility Base are his most open ones. Yeah, like politics and technology. It's always been about like romance and sex, and then to go, but so even then, it's not completely fictional. Even though he's built this fictional world to like hide in, it's still not.
Yeah, I've said it before when we get to Tranquility that I don't understand it when I've heard people say like some of the lyrics people reference as being like this dystopian world is created. I'm like, No, do you not realize he's talking about our world now by saying that? Quite, you know, like you completely like just blanked on the fact that it's a societal commentary there, and he's not like, no, that horrible dystopian world that he's singing about. That's the world you live in right now. Yeah. But yeah, so obviously the opening lines are going back to 5:05 if it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. Even that sounds like a young person's way of saying it. I don't know. There's something about that, you know, because at the end of the day, they're not even that longer periods of time, really. You know, it's a 45 minute, but when you're young, that might feel like a long time. I don't know. 45-minute drive is like nothing, is it? So a 7-hour flight. In my imagination, you're waiting lying on your side with your hands between your thighs. Such a romantic image, isn't it? I bet you do. Invokes that image. He's always been so good at that. We've said it the whole way through. Always great at putting an image in your head, which is why they were so popular at first, because you could really put the images of nights out in Sheffield in your head and experience stuff like that and the characters. So, like, I think you just get that image straight away. Woman on the bed. Place your own woman there, someone that you love perhaps on the side, and place your own woman like it's one of those. Place your own woman here. put woman A here. But yeah, it's he's just always been good at that. And then such a romantic, lovely. Again, though, very youthful. That like lying on your side with your hands between your thighs feels like a very young person's. And I think he keeps that young love vibe up until before AM, and then AM. I've always said that Suck It and See is very much how love feels when you're young still, and when you're in your early 20s as well. And then AM is very much how sex feels when you're in your mid to late 20s, I'd say, personally. Yeah. And then Chocolate feels like your early 30s when you're just depressed. And then the car feels like your mid-30s. But yeah, no, I just think it's very youthful, that thought of a girl lying on the side of her hands between her thighs waiting for you. Like, it's a very young person's thought process, it feels, which again, why the TikTok lot probably got it.
Well, whilst we are on the first line of the song, in particular with the 7-hour flight or 45-minute drive line, the comedian Ivo Graham has kindly dissected this. Not for us, he did it off his own back. We're not in with like TV comedians. So just a series of tweets here. Delighted to immediately and anticlimactically confirm this is a belatedly clinical response to the Monkees' belatedly viral classic 5:05, 2007, in which Turner laments he is separated from his muse by a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive. We can therefore conclude that under standard nocturnal traffic conditions / average flight speeds, his lover could be on their side with their hands between their thighs, as far away as Mansfield for a drive or Khartoum for a flight. Sure, by favourite worst nightmare, Turner was already an American playboy, and the flight is almost certainly New York to Los Angeles, 6 hours 15. But I prefer to imagine him lovelorn in his home city of Sheffield, commandeering a private plane to Nova Scotia, Dakar, or Omsk. A private plane, sure. The knife twist at the thought that I should fall short of the mark, which Turner sadly would if his beloved was waiting for him in Yaoundé or Pontefract. So it's nice that someone's managed to work it out, but yeah. So it's
well, I mean,
people try to find a new midpoint somewhere. But yeah,
I'm sure there's very many places that are 6 hours apart that you could put. Almost anywhere on the planet is 6 hours from somewhere.
Well, the assumption is that the flight is between LA and New York. Apparently, the flight.
Maybe. I've always thought it's UK based because I mean, if you're assuming he's being exact with his term and it's not just a good rhyme or a good song structure, because if you put anything else in there, it wouldn't sound as good, would it? If it's an 8-hour drive or not, it wouldn't sound as good. So really, there's just wordplay in there. But I think I've always thought because if you're going to take it literally, then timing wise, they were touring America. Perhaps when this was going on, pre-writing the album, or maybe beginning to start the album, which was, I think the album was done here, wasn't it? This one as well was done here as well. So somewhere UK, US to US state, whatever. I mean, it is a 7-hour. I mean, it is a 7-8 hour flight from New York to LA. So it does work, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, literally, who knows? It could have been, It could have been Russia to Minsk for all we know. Who knows? That's
Minsk
why they're
is in
staying in the
Russia.
That's why they're staying in the hotel. So it is, yeah.
I know where Minsk
we talk
is.
about them.
Obscure friends quote there.
I actually don't know where Minsk is. Well, I do now. Russia, apparently.
Belarus. Belarus as opposed to actual Russia, yeah.
Okay, so it's not
fools.
Not Russia, yeah.
It was part of
Fools.
Russia. I think it's one of the places that Russia likes to fight over.
Was. If man had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Just want to be popular as a new boss.
So then the next one, obviously, stop and wait a sec. When you look at me like that, my darling, what did you expect? So that's like, how could I not fall in love with you when you look at me like that? How could you?
Oh, sorry, you weren't talking to me.
I was talking to you. No, I was doing both, multitasking. Yeah, it's kind. Yeah, you expect me not to fall in love with you when you look at me like that, kind of thing, isn't it? That or like, yeah, very exasperated. Oh, Alex, dreamboat.
And next line is probably one of his most lovely romantic. If someone said this to me, I'd think it was the best thing I'd ever heard. This next line, I probably still adore you with your hands around my neck.
Yes, great line. Like, I love you so much, even if you were killing me, I'd still love you. Very romantic, basically. But the next line, because that is very romantic, and I don't want to take away from that. The next line, or I did last time I checked.
I love this songs with caveats in.
Well, is he? So, what would you take that to mean? Long pause there. Dead air. Dead air is a crime.
Check the small print in your contract. I see it as almost the distance separating them. It's like, well, last time I saw you, that's how I felt. But
yeah, that's
with the long distance thing, it's you don't know how you'll feel.
Yeah. So last time I saw you, yeah, it felt like that. But yeah, that does make sense with the whole song being about them being separated as well. I did wonder. Part of me wondered, as it often does.
These things happen.
Is it a sexual hint? Because is it like I'd probably still do your hands around my neck, and I did still love you last time you had your hand around my neck in a kinky way. Yeah,
I was hanging out the back of you.
Because you could say, "Oh, I did last time I checked." Means last time you had your neck. It was whether he's saying last time I checked, I still felt that way, or whether it's last time I checked when you had your hands around my neck. And there's only one way she had his hands around his neck, unless it. I
think it's the former.
I don't think she tried to kill him. So yeah, I don't want to make it crude, but he has been known to slip in a little sexual line here.
Save it for my propeller, Dan.
Well, we're getting there. Yes, is it. I'm getting progressively dirtier as we get towards Humbug. By the time we're doing fucking the nettles, I'll be like I'm sitting on a pile of nettles the way I'll be jumping around. But
you'll just be a puddle by that point.
I know, Humbug. Luckily, there's a breakwater of love songs in between that and AM. Otherwise, it'll be a very horny year.
God.
Like your year.
You'll be having hot girl summer now.
No, it'll be more like flushed. Yeah, I don't think it is, but it just for like today. I thought I did last time I checked. If he actually means physically last time you had your hands around my neck, I did still love you. Well, she's never probably tried to kill him, so that would only be like kinky.
Don't get me all frisky.
Kinky boots. Oh, matron. Yeah. Yeah, well, you never know. Could be he's been known to slip in a little sexual comment before. It wouldn't be the first time, and it certainly won't be the last time that he does that.
Certainly will not.
So yeah. Yeah, so not the next line. If it is or isn't, let us know. If someone's actually genuinely always thought that is a sexual hint, let us know. Love to hear from you. Not just because you're clearly kinky and Nick wants to speak to you, just as a fan of the podcast. Not shy of a spark. So you've already said this lyric from Old Ivo, the big posh sod. Not shy of a spark. The knife twists at the thought that I should fall short of the mark. Oh, poor Alex. This is actually because remember when he's might not live up to your expectations. Well, do you remember that really sad, insecure quote he had during the Do Me a Favor when he said, like, do you ever look at pictures of your current girlfriends and think they look happier before? That still gets. I'm like, fucking hell, that might be one of the saddest, most insecure things I've ever heard. And I live in my head, And even I think that. So fucking hell, Alex. And you're Alex. Jesus. What the hope of the rest of us got?
Give someone
You know what
else
I
a chance.
If you think that girls look happier in their ex than you, then I don't know what the rest of us. But yeah, do you think that's a nice little insecurity coming in again there, isn't it? From him, it might not be good enough from Johanna. Turns out he wasn't good enough because she preferred a bit of the old American blues cock.
She prefers a band who evolved for the worst.
Okay, so on that then, actually, on that there, they obviously didn't work out as a relationship. The song would suggest that's because schedules and stuff like that didn't allow it to blossom past that point. You know, we'll always have that night. We'll always have that night.
We'll always have 505.
Yeah, we'll always have fluorescent adolescent in the little bitty chef. Frightened by the bite, though it's no harsher than the bark. The middle of adventure, such a perfect place to start. So
very
what's
underrated line that?
Very underrated line. Very, very good line. What would you? So I was trying to think about different angles on this today. So who's he say when he says frightened by the bite, there's no harsher than bite? Is he talking about the experience, or because there's two ways, as far as I could see. Like, what do you take the middle of adventure such a perfect place to start? There's two ways to look at it. As is it positive? I was wondering, is it sarcastic because it doesn't work out? Is it like the middle of adventure such a perfect place to start because it isn't? Or is he saying because it was good while they were in it, that is it's an exciting place to start a relationship, is the middle of adventure? So the adventure being the band's rise. And I've always seen it that way as well, where it's the band's rise and the success, that's the adventure and such a perfect place to start. But I just thought today, but the song doesn't have a good turnout because we're about to get into emotional turmoil, bad, how it doesn't work out. So does the middle of adventure such a perfect place to start a sarcastic line about how it's not a good, because the whole song is about how it's the timing isn't right for them. Yeah. So why would he say it's the perfect place to start? Why would he say it's a good place to start if it didn't work out? It's not a good place to start. No, or is it kind of like, like we had that time though? I don't know. It was good while we were in it. I think there's two ways to read that. Because frightened by the bite, though it's no harsher than the bark, is the bite. Because the bite, that implies something bad as well. Is he talking about her and arguing, or is he talking about how the bite of it being so emotionally heart-wrenching to have to not see each other and go our separate ways for a while he's touring? But it's no harsher than the bite. Actually, because bite and bark, because normally you say that about a person, don't you? A person that's arguing, like, a bark's worse than a bite. Like, is he talking about the experience? I've now just the first time I've ever thought, wait, is he talking about her, or is he talking about the situation? Because I don't know if I don't think I can make it make sense. But I always have, but when I tried to think about how that makes sense, I couldn't get it right in my head. Maybe you can, but I was like, okay, so he's saying that the bite's worse than the bark, but if that's the situation, then what he's saying there is that he's frightened by the. Oh, actually, you know what he might be saying? What if he's saying he's frightened by it ending, but that's actually no harsher than not being with you and being separated with you? Yeah, maybe that's
Saying they're both saying it's a means to an end either way. Whatever.
It's both is pain, so we may as well do it. Yeah. So that if that's the case, then that would lead me to say that the middle of adventure is such a perfect place to start is a sarcastic line.
Sarcastic, yeah.
Because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. So he's saying that because obviously it is a bad time to start probably like a relationship when you're touring the world and trying to keep that your momentum going. Like, well, let me ask you out of the two of us, I've never had a long distance relationship personally, but you have. So I imagine this song feels relatable on a different level than it does to me for people who have had one of those. And you had a similar distance as well.
Not as much as Despairing Departure Lounge did. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I suppose you would have. She was here a lot more, I guess, than this situation in the song.
You do have that thing of like, if you've not seen them for like 6-9 months or whatever, and then all the stuff that's laid bare in these lyrics of it being like, oh, well, is it going to be the same or not?
I think I could do that 6-9 months.
I couldn't now.
Rough.
Couldn't now.
No, it's rough, isn't it?
No, I'm nearly dead.
You might not have 6 9 months left. Never mind waiting around. For
Yeah, exactly.
someone
Yeah.
else.
It takes about 3 months to get warmed up. Get to full mast.
Shouldn't say stuff like that because I'm normally spot on. So I might have just accidentally given you 9 months to live. 6 9 months.
That's
to
like
live,
the
so
Simpsons all
I
over
apologize.
again, isn't it?
I apologize if I have. No, I'm joking. If you're dead by Christmas or March, then we'll know. You never know.
Yeah, only one way to find out. Tune in, folks. Subscribe.
I will be accepting applications to carry on because we'll only be on Humbug then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's good that I think that I get that now a little bit more like now because I've never thought about it. You know, when you just hear something and you never really think about it, you just think, oh yeah, it's a song about long distance and it's about it not working out, having this time together and all that. But so then obviously he says when it kicks in, which is such a moment, but I crumble completely when you cry. Why is she crying? Is she crying because she's going to miss him because it's over as soon as it started? Is that the crying? And
because it goes on to the next line. It seems like once again you've had to greet me with goodbye. It feels like as soon as he's there, he's having to leave again.
That's such a good line. That it seems like once again you've had to greet me with goodbye. And also the next bit, and I'm always just about to go and spoil the surprise. Take my hands off your eyes too soon. I love that he's comparing being there and then having to go again as like taking your hands away from someone's eyes too soon in the surprise. Like that's such a good comparison of that. Like because she's waiting for it, but as soon as she's gonna be happy by it, the negative's there because it's over straight away. If you were like waiting months to see someone and then you see them and you've only got like one night, that must feel like pretty tough, especially at that age when you're all hormones and fucking like.
Some of us only need one night, Dan.
Because at the beginning, until they've fucked off because they realised.
To myself.
Well, do you think? You know what? It's a weird thing because I think the age thing does play into it as well, which again was maybe why it plays to the TikTok likes because that age, like the hormones and everything just feels 10 times more intense. And I guess it does it at the beginning of any relationship because it's the beginning. Do you think I think now I've been with my girlfriend for 4.5 years. 6 to 9 months away would be really, really difficult, but probably easier than it would have been when we first met. If you meet someone for like a month and then they have to go away for 6 to 9 months, it's going to fizzle out. What I mean by that is it wouldn't be any easier now, but you would work harder to keep it going because you've been together 4.5 years. So it's more of a stable level. If you just meet someone and then they go away for 9 months, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to keep that going because you need that time together at the beginning, don't you, to build the relationship. So I can imagine it's crazy, but that's such a good comparison that and I can't handle women crying at all. If a woman cries in an argument, I like that. Even if I'm right, I'm out. That's all they have to do. Like, I just go, I'm sorry. Are you okay? I'm sorry. I feel like it's I don't know if it's all you get. I heard a lot of men say it, to be honest. So it might be, and you just feel like maybe guys who are shits don't cry don't get upset by it. But maybe that's it. Yeah. I instantly feel like I'm a shit because I've made a woman cry. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh God. So even if I'm in the right, it's like, oh no, I'm sorry. It's and a natural cry as well, not a used cry like we'll get to in Humbug, not a manipulative cry, as we'll get to in one of his finest metaphors, in my opinion. But we'll hang on for that. I love that. I love that whole the lyrics, and then he adds. So the lyrics are pretty much the same as he repeats the lyrics, but he adds the little and a smile at the end, which is very romantic and sweet. That really does add a lot, that little line, doesn't it, to that end there with it? Yeah. It's like if without that, he'd just say hands on your thighs, and then it would go into the end solo outro. I don't think it would be as impactful without the and a smile and then going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a big moment. I love it. I love it. What a tune.
Such a big tune, isn't it? It's just,
you know what? Listening to it and talking about it, it's definitely it's going to be a tough list, this album. But I think this one is like got to be top 3 territory. I think it's just got to be. How can it not be? It's such an epic tune.
Like, genuinely, I'm glad you said before about almost taking this song for granted at times, because I definitely have. And then listening to it this week, listening to like different live versions, like new live versions, older ones, and just listen to the instrumental version as well. I can't believe how much I genuinely feel so bad for taking the song for granted because it's just always been there. Like,
Yeah.
because
Well,
we first saw them live when this album had come out, so this song's just always been there from our live experiences of seeing them, and it's not been dropped. So,
well, actually, while you're on that train of thought, I forgot my train of thought. Oh, with a lyrical on.
man.
Should we just play the hot take jingle? Because I just have a couple of questions to pose you.
Lovely.
She flicks a red hot revelation off the tip of her toe.
So on that, taking it for granted and giving it any lace and potentially now being higher up on the album than I originally would have thought when we started this, which has been nice about this whole process of doing this. It happened last album of hearing a song like with me, Riot Van, and going, oh, that's going to be higher than I anticipated, or 505. Now I think at the end of the album, shocking me and going, oh, okay, that's got to be higher than I coming in. I probably would have thought, I'll probably put 505 middle of the road on the album maybe, and then remembering it because we took it for granted. Where do you think, and I'm not just talking up to this point, I'm talking whole Arctic's discography, best love song? Now, this is going to be a tough pill to swallow for us two because both of our favorite songs are, and your top two favorite songs are my favorite song, are both love songs by the band.
Yeah.
So taking away perhaps personal preference for those songs, do you think this is the best love song they've written, or do you still think that the others are stronger? And here's my, while you're thinking, I'll give you my thoughts. And you probably disagree with this. I would say that this is a better love song than Cornerstone. And I love Cornerstone. Yeah. But I still think Suck It and See is a better love song in the lyrics. Because Cornerstone is a bit like... it's very sweet, but it's also got some dark undertones. Sinister. Yeah, potentially. More on that next year. But this Suck It and See is just an all-out love tune, really, isn't it? And others, and what have we had since then? Tranquility doesn't have any AM, doesn't have any love songs, does it really? You could argue I Want to Be Yours, but it's not theirs. And you could argue, yeah, even I Want to Be Yours feels sexy because of the music being Alea-esque.
Yeah.
Alea. Oh, let's call the whole thing off.
Don't matter now, she's dead. Can't want, mate.
R. Kelly killed her. So, an elaborate plane crash. No, I would say that's going to be a good album to do the music for. We're going to get to play a lot of 90s and early 2000s hip hop for that album.
I've got a list of influences.
But number one party anthem is also more about the angst of walking up to someone and that you fancy, and also fancy. It's all about fancying someone, that album, isn't it? There's no love in there. It's all lost.
I even feel bad. I can see where you're coming from with Suck It and See probably being the best love song, because Suck It and See is a straight up love song as well.
Even melody wise,
this has got more of a story to it, and there's like circumstances around it. Whereas Suck It and See is just a straight up love song. Melody, the sounds of the instruments, and lyrically, yeah. I mean,
but 505
shout out for Love Is a Laser Quest as well, by the way, while we're on the album.
I would, yes, yeah. Although not a love song in my opinion.
Not a straight up love song as much as any others, but there's like, there's enough in there.
I have a different. Well, I have quite a dark interpretation of that song, so more on that and differently, as I do on a lot of Suck It and See. Yeah, that will literally be at some point towards the end of next year or beginning of 2025. So yeah, hang on for that. Probably more so the end of next year, actually. But yeah, I because Humbug has loads of B-sides actually. But yeah, I think it's a toss up between those. I mean, Power Driver, Power Driver was a breakup. What I'm talking about. It's a toss up between them, I'd say. Yeah, because a lot of Alex's songs are about lost love, and I suppose this one is as well in a way, but it feels like it's about the actual moment as well. So yeah, it's difficult. I would say Suck It and See has the more classic love pop melody tune. But what I suppose this one has, Suck It and See is probably about someone in his head, but for me, it's not a pained song of love. It's a
No.
it's a celebration, you could say. Whereas this has pain in it, and pain love songs are always more liked and are better love songs than happy ones. Have you noticed that? That's a weird thing, isn't it? Like lost love songs do way more. Like look at Adele or something. Made a career out of it. But yeah, lost love songs are always like, I can't think of many happy songs about love. Are usually cheesy pop or something, aren't they? But I don't know. What's like a good happy song about like a celebration of love rather than a pained existence. I can't even think of any. No, but I could name you 10 about pained love. Oh, your song's a very good happy celebration of love, isn't it? There's nothing sad about that.
It doesn't sound it, but it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Buy a big house. Crying again. But yeah, no. I think it could be the best love song they've done, because also the guitar and everything just makes it sound like emotional more than Suck It and See. Suck It and See is emotional. The only really Suck It and See is just I love the song, but I don't think it gets me emotional until, apart from obviously because I heard it live for the first time in like 10 years when we saw them. But the last line of Suck It and See is what makes me emotional, because it's such a good line. But yeah, I'd say this is up there. This has got to be, I don't know, I might have to give it. Also, it's a toss up anyway between that and the Suck It and See song. Let's just say that. Best, so we said probably the best guitar solo potentially between that and Art of Certain Realms up to this point. Is it potentially the best guitar solo of the whole discography? And if not,
oh no,
what do you think trumps it?
Well, I've got a soft spot for 1 Point Perspective, haven't I?
Very good solo, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is just, and it pains me because it's not one of the band doing it, but it's a pretty good solo, isn't it? And it's a pretty emotive solo as well, and it's perfect. And they don't do that many big emotive ones, do they? Like this solos, I guess, because that's one of the things I've always thought was lacking from. Because I always feel like after they were perfect at doing last songs on the album, and then. But there's a couple. I think I Want to Be Yours could have done with a big epic solo in it, slow solo. And I think Perfect Sense could have done with a big outro solo. And I think or had big ideas last, and I think what did he say? So Ultra Cheese again, yeah, could have done with a big solo as well.
Always left wanting more with that. Yeah.
Always left, yeah, which potentially is a good thing, to be left wanting more rather than wanting it to end, which I would say Oasis always have good solos, but I also say Oasis's songs could do with a bit of an edit most of the time. You've done the solo, and now what, we're doing a chorus, and we're doing another solo after that. What's going on here?
You're going to layer 4 rhythm guitars on
first
top
chorus, solo, outro, Noel. No one's ever told you this. Solo, chorus, outro, solo, outro. What's going on here?
You're lunatic.
7 minutes. Imagine how many times they had to do the radio. Whoever got we need to do the radio edits of these. Oh, for fuck's sake. But yeah, no, I think so. 1 Point Perspective would be the only one that you would play.
No, there's others. Don't Sit Down because I Move Your Chair.
There's dozens of us.
There's dozens.
Oh, Don't Sit Down because you. I suppose. I mean, yeah, it depends. You might have to subcategorize, like we often have to be able to even have these conversations, because there's so much good quality content. But like subcategorizing it into emotive solos, you'd have to say this is the best one. Yeah. Oh, but Certain Romance is that certain solo in it, I suppose. Certain Romance is pretty emotive as well, nostalgic. But yeah, if we're just going solos, then yeah, even the Teddy Picker solo is great. Like there's cool solo, like Arabella. There's cool solos and there's emotive solos, and they're two very different things. Well, one's the cool solos are like rock, 80s rock, and the emotive ones are like 80s, like like fucking I don't know, Billy Joel or something, or like who's the guy on the piano from the 80s. His name, there's a few of them. But yeah, there's kind of emotive 80s, like you're getting like filmed from that time, like big power ballad. So yeah, no, I think it's the most emotive solo. I think that's fine, and it wasn't even by one of them. But good on Miles. Good on him,
Miles. Well done.
I'm glad he came in and did this, then coming in to replace Andy. God, this is the sequence of events that happened. How do you think it happened? Do you reckon? So I think that the conception from the fans that don't like Jamie is that Jamie couldn't quite handle writing a solo, which makes no sense because you know Alex is capable, so why wouldn't Alex just do it if that was the case? But so do you think they just said Miles is great on guitar? Should we get Miles in, or do you think he was just hanging around the studio with them, mates, and they said, oh, and he just picked up a guitar and started doing something? What do you think? Because they are very free like that. I think it's great that they can do that, and Jamie doesn't feel any need to be like, hang on, what's Miles doing here in the solo?
This would suggest that they did record this as like a full band. If they recorded it as a full band and Alex is on the organ, then
it would
suggest that because Alex could just play it and have it on the recorded version and then just bring Miles out live or whatever, but they didn't. So
which is what I used to think back in the day. I think I used to think assume that's what happened until I found out it at first anyway. Yeah, that would then imply that Alex heard this organ before and brought it in an organ to do it. Because if it was just sampled, you just lay it on the track and then do it live. So that would imply that Alex wrote the lyrics on an organ. So he wrote the lyrics to that organ, which would either imply he heard it in the film and did have that spark of genius, which I'd love that to be true because that's absolutely brilliant to hear that. Because it's literally, like, we're not even joking, that clip you heard is all that's in the film. So to hear that and go, oh, I might write a tune to that is just shows what was to come with his whole film score-esque sort of future. And I'd love him to do a film score. I saw a video of him on NME the other day from I forgot about from 2013 where he says he wishes he could write some music to be used in Breaking Bad, but he said it's about to end, so I probably missed my chance. Friend of the show as well, didn't he? He was friends with famously friends with Jesse. What's his name? Aaron. Because Aaron Paul is best friends with Ariel Vandenberg, so therefore, they're never friends. So that all just adds into how cool that whole AM time was. The fact that not only at the time was Arctic Monkeys just sexy and cool and everywhere and a global sensation, and he had his new look and everything, and he's dating a supermodel and they're living in LA and everything was just huge for them. Then the biggest show on TV at the time, that was such a huge thing as well, like Breaking Bad was so big for us that then to see Alex hanging out with Aaron Paul was just like, what? This is like God, if I could go back to a time of my life and enjoy it a bit more, be single, definitely. I could have been hanging out with you in the bar then. What a shame.
Could have been cleaning up my sick.
But yeah, no, best album. But yeah, shall we? But yeah, I hope that's true. I hope he did write the lyrics to it. That's really cool.
I hope so. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get these. Are all we sometimes come up with some really good questions that if we ever got to interview him, there'd be different questions than anyone else asks. Like we had another one the other week where I said, "Oh, if we asked him that'd be cool." I can't remember what it were now, but
we'll have to go back, aren't we? We're going to have to go back.
There was there was something, and I said, "Oh, we should ask him." Oh, I think it was asking him if now he would take the Bad Thing off the album on reflection and accept one of the others being on it, which would be a great question to ask him. He'd be like, "Oh, these know their onions," and he'd go, "And that's Charlotte," and then he'd walk off.
No one would laugh because it was shit when you did it.
The onions bit was good after. The shallot bit was shit, but the shallot bit's just something I say every time I'm cooking, and I say to shoehorn, I'm cooking a shallot. It's just one of those dad things, isn't it? Yeah. I'm not a dad, and I don't intend to be.
And then you look round, and there's no one stood there. No one's laughing.
No, Vicky's bags are packed. She's left.
Pack
my bags and left for flight. A lot of love songs featuring flights, isn't there? And leaving. That's kind of the although I would argue Rocket Man's not a love song. It's about being a drug addict. Actually, I would say, but and the way it was used in the film would also insinuate that that's true. But should we do our favorite lyric? I'm intrigued to see what you're going to go with. Actually, so I'll let you go first.
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
Oh, it was tough this, but I went for it seems like once again you've had to greet me with goodbye. This has changed about 7 times throughout the day, but that's the one that I keep coming back to.
Yeah, I had that as well, but I'm using the whole chunk. So because I I didn't actually. I pretty much firmly just had this one but I can crumble completely when you cry. It seems like once again you've had to greet me goodbye. I'm always just about to go and spoil the surprise. And by the way, I've just got a bit of indigestion there. I'm not welling up as I'm saying it. Sounds like I'm crying. Take my hands off your eyes too soon. But big shout out to the Anna Smile for absolutely
little addition,
segueing the outro perfectly. Yeah, as an addition.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. But yeah, favorite musical moment.
My sound in your ear, they make you get up and down.
I'm gonna have to say. Did you think I was gonna go into that? I'm gonna have to say, when it all comes in after the crumble completely, when you cry, it's just got to be in the outro.
same.
Miles. We always say who's won the song. Sometimes, Nick's won a lot of this album. I think Miles has won this song, as much as I hate to.
I think the cocky young substitute has come up with a late winner here, hasn't he?
I think he has. I think Miles has to have the song, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Miles takes it. Get it tested quickly.
Pronto. Don't do anything with it until it's been tested.
But no, what an absolute belter. What a belter. What a week. What an album. That's the end of the album, Nick, already. Can you believe it?
I promise I will never take this song for granted again. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just always been there.
And that will be more of a discussion or reflection in the wrap up as well, where I think we'll show that we don't take it for granted. But I think as well, maybe with it being a big hit again, you take it for granted even more than as well. But such an absolute tune, and that's the end of the album. Can you believe it? Let's go quick on it. This one
just about wraps up our look at track 12 of 12 from Favourite Worst Nightmare 505. But we will be back. We've got a heap of B-sides to work our way through. So what are we back with next week?
So excited about this run because it's almost like getting the albums. I think that's why it's not. When we got to the end of A Certain Romance, it felt big. It was our first series, but also I like Bigger Boys and stuff. But it didn't feel. It felt like we were very clearly transitioning into a B-side era. Whereas this one, I just feel like we're carrying on the album. I don't think there's this big heavy hitters. Too Much to Ask, Bakery, What If You're Right First Time. We've got a big run, but they are not our first run because every week I struggle on this pod as I feel like I'm under constant correction, a fraud, someone's perception trying not to bore. Yes. Deep breath, Dan, deep breath. Get your inhaler up. Inhaler. He's back again. It's Miles.
He's already won the song.
We said you won the song. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Prey on some woman. Yes, much like this podcast, it's brief. Pah. It's classical. Pah. And it's in your fucking face. Yeah, that's us all over.
Yeah.
And also, much like most people who feel uneasy after hearing us, well, unfortunately, if you found this, it's probably too late. Oh, hang on, though. Who's that coming around the corner? It's only Dizzy Rascal in a flat in Manchester. That's bonkers. Oh, no, I've bloody gone and set him off now, haven't I? Yes, Dizzy, it's very catchy. Well done. Don't milk it. It's only a double header next week as we also slink down a cul-de-sac with a mid-noughties British hip-hop sensation, which will hopefully heat up the cauldron of thought as Temptation greets you like your naughty friend. So yeah, double header, big two tunes because they're both. We didn't feel like if you found this too late could carry a song, and Temptation could have maybe carried a song, but I think it would have been a bit lackluster because there isn't, loads. They're probably, there's a lot of good I'm not saying these are bad B-sides, but they're not the ones I consider like as the heavy hitter B-sides of this era, but they're still very good. And maybe, we'll find out, I guess. But I absolutely, I do enjoy it. And very much it's just fun to listen to. I listened to it today because after 505, I thought I needed to write something for the end. And I thought, I'll just listen to them. And I thought Temptation is very fun to listen to now, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I need to figure out my timings because I have a theory on it. But I need to figure out my timings because I could be way off. But I'll show me working out, and I'll say if I'm wrong, I'll still bring it up and say I was wrong, but I thought this. But anyway,
that's something to look forward
I'm good
to.
Like that.
Yes, we are back next Wednesday with that, and don't forget if you subscribe, then you can get access a week early to extended versions of all the episodes with pre and post show chat and extra stuff and all that. And more importantly, you're helping helping to pay for us to carry on doing this, because this shit ain't cheap, bitches.
And also, I think this will be going out on the 10th of August, so it'll be nearly football season time. Thankfully,
It will be football season time for me. We're on the 5th, our first game, I think.
Yeah, well, we'll be close.
Oh, can't wait.
Well, you got the Women's World Cup, obviously.
Yes, I've been watching some of that today.
Have you?
Yeah. I caught the Australia-Ireland game, or most of it.
I don't want this to sound sexist, but I've got no interest in it. It's not because I've got no interest in women's football. I've just absolutely got no interest in watching. It is because I got no interest in women's football, but that isn't a slight on women's football. It's the fact that I only in the past sort of decade got into men's football, so sinking into women's football, it's just a bit too early for me on that. But yeah,
I'm just using it to carry me, because by the time it finishes, it'll be time for the season to start. So it's a nice little palate cleanser for me.
I think it's very strategically placed, because I don't think if it was the middle of the season when the World Cup was on, people would be if it was August when it was on, I don't think the viewing figures would be as high. So good on them, because you need the support. So clever to place
keep tournaments in the summer. That's how it should be. Right, this is it. We're going.
Hate Saudi, do you?
If you've subscribed, you'll get a bit of extra bonus chat shortly. If you've not, then you won't, and this will be it. Say goodbye to the nice people, Dan.
Goodbye, my lovers.
Bye.
I think we've got time for one more tune, Glastonbury, and then we're going to have to bid you good night. In order to finish this thing off properly, though, I think we need a little help from our friend. Just the way we did it 6 years ago, folks. I'd like to give you a hero's welcome. I'd like you to give a hero's welcome to Mr. Miles Kane, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. We'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'm going back to 505. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive, in my imagination you're waiting, lying on your side, with your arms between your thighs.
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.